right, so this is the X plus diamond hashtag transfer technique that I'm going to be covering today. What you need is to have your visual reference. So whether it be a hero or a villain, it's up to you. Whoever your favorite character is today that you want to reproduce in an artistic manner. So some of you may have printed off an image that doesn't have a border, okay? Others among you have a visible border and edge to your artwork. If you're somebody who doesn't have a border, we need to add one before we can proceed. So if you do have a border, just sit tight and give us a second. When you draw your border around your person, your character, don't put the edge of the border right on their hand or right on the top of their head. Give them a little bit of breathing room so that they're not just scrunched up to the edges of things. So I'd say half an inch or a couple centimeters. Yeah, I've got 2 centimeters here, but I always work in inches with you guys. So let's go back to inches. I'm going to give them half, 3/4 of an inch off the top. You decide what you think will look aesthetically pleasing. But whatever you do decide on, make sure that you measure twice, put down 2 marks, line the ruler up along those 2 marks before you commit. Otherwise, your line is going to be crooked and you're going to have a bad time. So there's my top border. I'm going to find his toe. That's the lowest point. Measure half an inch. That looks good. Measure it twice. Connect my dots. Those are easier. Iron Man a little bit more space. And there we go. So just make sure that you always measure twice before committing. And drawing that line. Okay, so I have a border now around my Iron Man fan art. And this is where everybody's going to jump in and join in with me, whether you've, And what we're going to do is we're going to draw an X, a plus, a diamond, and a hashtag over top of our visual reference. This is different from your traditional elementary school grid where you draw from boxes. You draw boxes on your art, then you draw boxes on your visual reference, and you reproduce this way. This is a lot better for 2 reasons. It's more versatile. You can get more precise, and there's very little math. Yay! So we use this artistic technique to transfer images onto our art so we can make something new and creative with it. And we can enlarge things. We can make our pictures bigger. So we're starting off with the X. And you're going to put your ruler in the corners, the diagonal corners of the border that you've created. And you're going to draw a line. One side of the X. Here's the other side. Lovely. An X from corner to corner. Take your rulers. This is where we get a little bit of math. And find where the middle is in your image. And I'm okay with you putting a mark. If it's not a pretty number, like a solid 1 or 1.5 or whatever, take a little bit of your pencil and make a mark. Slide your ruler up, line 0 on the edge, and you can put a dash at the top, finding the middle edge, middle mark between these 2 points. Your ruler should start there, go perfectly through the X, the crosshairs of that X. Draw a vertical line. Do the same thing up here. So, oops, sorry, start in the middle. Find that middle mark. You can put a little mark on your rulers to indicate where it was. Put it on the side. You got 2 points, 1, 2. Now you can connect the dots. Making sure the ruler runs through your center. There. And then wipe those little marks off your rulers. Once you're done. It's all good. So we have got the X and the plus. Now we're on to the diamond. If this is north, and this is east, and this is south, and this is west, we're going to connect the cardinal points to make our diamond. North to east. Boom. And boom. So there we have a lovely diamond. So X plus diamond, and we're on to the hashtags, and that's pretty easy. Look at your visual reference, and now you should see 4 X's. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Do you see the 4 crosshairs of your X's? You're going to draw a hashtag that connects or runs through those 4 middles of X's. So here I've matched up this X center with this X's center. Oh. If you're with me still, we're going to go horizontally now through the centers of the X's, the 4 different quadrants. Boom, boom, boom. We're just going to keep chugging through, though. Let's take scissors or rulers if you're feeling really brave. If you're feeling super brave. Take your rulers or a pair of scissors, which I have in the box over there, and cut your image out. This is where, my friends, you need to use a little bit of logic. This is tough. If your image is tall, then set your good copy paper in the portrait orientation. If your visual reference is wide, set your good copy paper in a landscape orientation. If it's a square, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Okay, so my Iron Man image is tall. I'm going to put it as perfectly aligned with the bottom 2 edges here. Right in the corner, tucked up as nice and snug as I possibly can get it. So that those edges are always perfect. Okay, so these edges are nicely aligned and these edges are nicely aligned. I'm going to take my ruler and lay it along that diagonal Oh, I can do this. I don't have enough workspace. So lay your ruler so you're extending, I have to do this in increments, extending the diagonal line off the image, off the visual reference, onto your good copy paper. I got a good chunk of it there. So I'm going to slide my art away and finish off the line, making sure that it goes right into that corner, because that's where it started on my visual reference. It's going to have to do the same thing on my art. And since my space is limited, one tip so that your future self will be thankful: draw this grid lightly. I'm going to press a little firm so it shows up in the camera, but draw lightly, kids, and you will have a better time. Okay, listen. This is the big one where a lot of people mess up. My line ended here. I know that if I take a line horizontally off that point where it connects with the paper, all of this is going to be scrap. All of it's going to be scrap. So you have to decide. Oh, so you know that I'm going to move Iron Man over here so the other corner, he was here. Now he's moving over here. I'm choosing to move him here because I know when I extend this diagonal out, it's going to end here-ish. Oh, you can't see. It's going to end over here. Got to get it right in that perfect corner. Carry it all the way down, making sure I hit that corner. If it's not hitting the right side of the page so that you have scrap on the correct spots, you've chosen the wrong corner. Okay? This is hitting on the edge. Oh, where's my camera? There it is. There, and the other one's ending over there. I know that now when I connect these lines, the scrap will be all along the same edge. Last class, I had kids where it would end over here, and then something else would end over here, and it was a big mess. So you know it's not going to hit corner to corner perfectly on your art. That's okay. Everybody's finished piece is going to be a different size, and that's good because we're all different people. Tra-la-la. I know that this is the top because that's how I set it up. And there, I don't want to lose it. If you're working in a square or almost a square, it's good to indicate where your top is, because right now, if you're working in a square, who knows what's up, what's sideways, and so on and so forth. All right. We good? Sort of, kind of? So same thing as we did a visual reference. We're going to measure and find that center point. So 0 goes on the physical edge of the paper. And, oh, it's just a little bit less than 6 for me. So I'm going to put a little mark on my ruler, slide it up, put 0 on the physical edge of the paper, and put a dash where that mark was. And I clean my rulers because I'm a responsible citizen in the classroom. There we go. Then I'm going to connect those 2 dots. So making sure that it runs perfectly through the center of the X. Cha-cha. This is a big piece of paper. I do have longer rulers for those of you who just can't get it to reach. All right. That's the start of the plus. Let's go horizontally now. It's 7 3/4 for me. Everyone's going to have different measurements, and that's okay. Slide it over. I will help you out. You can also rewatch this video. Making sure that my ruler hits that marker and the center of all these lines. Finish this up. Okay, so we've done the X. We've done plus, and now we're on to the diamonds. The north, south, east, and west points. Who is with me? Raise your hands. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. Boom. Oh, I keep going off camera. Sean, you can be my camera person. When I go off screen, just cough. Whistle. Caw-caw. How's that sound, man? All right, there's my diamond. Now we're looking for the 4 X's that we've created. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to connect the centers of the X's, both vertically and horizontally. You put your ruler so it cuts through those centers. You might have to shift a little bit, but it's all good. Boom. How am I doing? Right through the middles. Oh. Lovely. And then horizontally through the middles. Make sure that it's the pencil stroke that's going through the middle. So you're going to have to ever so slightly, the width of your lead. Pop it down a smidge. Ta-da! Oh my gosh, it's so pretty. Now, a math teacher could spend a really horrible amount of time figuring out the mathematics behind this and prove to you mathematically that the grid, the ratio of this grid on your visual reference is equal to the ratio on the grid on your art. Okay? I'm not going to do that because that would be awful. We will stay away from that. But just trust in me. Just have faith, blind artistic faith, that it's true. To proceed from this point, you're going to go and find the triangle that correlates with your visual reference. So let's look at the heads, the faces, the heads. They're usually the hardest part for an artist to reproduce, for kids to reproduce. So Iron Man's head is in this triangle here. I'm going to find that right there in my art. There's his head. There's his head. This is what I'm about to show you is what is great about this transfer technique, because the regular box system doesn't let you do this. If you have a tough spot, you can go in and add smaller X's. and smaller pluses and smaller diamonds. You don't have to do the whole thing. I would only do what you need to figure out where things are. Ooh. So there we go. I've done an X and another plus in this smaller square right here. I've got more grid lines to work off of. I'm going to do the same thing in the same quadrant, the same box. And the math teacher will say that the ratio of this smaller X plus diamond hashtag line work is still in ratio to this one and to this big one. Cool. Ooh, ah. You could always ask Mrs. Hanta how that works. Don't ask me. It's magic. Ta-ta. There we go. Now I'm going to go section by section. And when we work on proportion, ladies and gentlemen, it's always about comparison. Whether you're comparing one thing to another thing around it or to a part of itself. We're going to be doing the same thing, only the good news is that we're going to use all these grid lines as comparison plot points. So take a look at his head here. So where does his head cross this line in comparison to maybe this point here? It's up here, a little higher, but it kind of runs down along this side. How does it curve? It curves, ooh, right there. And you're going to work methodically, carefully. As we reproduce this. It's a little high. There we go. And you'll go through it box by box until you have an accurate representation, an accurate contour outline drawing of your artwork onto this bigger sheet of paper. The end product should not have grid lines. So as I'm working, I can be erasing these lines. I don't need any of this down here. There's nothing going on, so I can erase that as I go, and so on and so forth. After you finish your grid lines, your outlines, you'll be coloring it in with pencil crayon using the artistic techniques taught a little while ago, or you can watch the artistic techniques again in my other video. Drop down thingy, ta-ta-ta-da. I hope this helped you learn about the X plus diamond hashtag transfer technique. Please click on like and share if you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for future videos. And remember, my friends, stay awesome and be creative. Until next time.